Good evening and welcome to Vibrant Hong Kong. I'm Erica.
And I'm Mishi. Good evening, everyone. Erica, mid-July is fast approaching and school's out for the summer. Do you have any recommendations on where families can go to enjoy some quality time together?
Well, how about our local museums? We've introduced a number of exhibitions hosted by places like M+ and the Hong Kong Palace Museum in the past. They always have something interesting to offer.
Museums sound like a great idea, but are there any unique ones?
Of course, if you're looking to learn more about our local history and culture, Tai Hang Fire Dragon Heritage Center and Lai Chi Wo Story Room are definitely worth considering.
Well, those are all wonderful recommendations, but what if I want to learn about science and nature?
Now you're just being greedy. In that case, I have no choice but to share this hidden gem with you.
Today, I'm visiting quite a small museum nestled within Hong Kong Youth Hall, a mere 60 square meters in size, yet one that has captivated over 34,000 curious visitors since its inception in 2021. What treasures could this tiny trove possibly hold to draw in so many people? Let's check it out. The answer lies in the room's bountiful biological specimen. This is the Biodiversity Museum, filled with specimens that spark wonder and cultivate appreciation for the natural world. From beetles over 100 years old to the majestic skull of an Indian elephant, each artifact tells a tale of our planet's incredible diversity. Well, hello, Benoit. Thank you so much for taking us to this tour. Well, a lot of impressive collection. Where should we start?
Indeed, we have a lot of specimens, but we need an organization for the public to actually understand what we are trying to show here. So we're going to be starting right behind you here. We have a group that is composed of what we know as a sponge. Those are animals, and this is one of the oldest groups that we have in terms of their origin. And so all our collection is actually organized according to the tree of life, the relationship between organisms, how they evolve from one another and then diversify. And then we have this group here, the arthropods. The arthropods are very important because then they start having legs and articulated legs. And this is actually where we'll find the most successful group of all, the insects. And then what we also try to show is not just the insect, the specimen themselves, but also what they can build. And this is what we can observe here specifically, where we have nests of wasps, ants, bees.
Benoit has introduced to me many precious collected specimens, including the Chinese cobra that you wouldn't want to encounter in the natural environment, the critically endangered giant Chinese salamander, and the largest moth in the entire world, the Atlas moth. Well, Benoit, I know that the museum's curatorial concept is based on the tree of life. I'm sure there must be some highlight exhibits that would showcase the best of evolution.
I think one of the best examples of that are actually a group of mammals known as the monotremata. So this is the platypus and other echidnae. And those are very interesting because they are mammals that lay eggs. The platypus is very interesting because this is a species that even when you look at it, it looks like some kind of a weird experimentation. In particular, he has a beak, just like a bird, like a duck. And this is actually a beak that he used to sense into its environment to capture prey.
To enhance the visitor's experience, Benoit and his team try to showcase the specimens in dynamic and engaging ways. For instance, this cabinet is designed to mimic different habitats at varying heights, displaying over 100 different species. The museum is currently managed by a team of experts from the University of Hong Kong. Their daily work includes digitizing specimens and organizing the collections.
Curation work is about organization, database, digitization, identification. We never purchase any specimens, so all the growth in our museum happens through donations. So I'm gonna check if the specimen is intact. It looks very nice. Every part is completely intact. We put them in quarantine to guarantee there is no pests or mold that will be spread to the rest of our collection. As the curator manager, I'm responsible to keep the specimens well preserved in a good condition so it can be studied and also appreciated by public for centuries.
In addition to curating the collections, the team also transforms complex scientific knowledge into eye-catching posts on social media.
I work with design and every artistical creation for the museum, but also I'm an entomologist. I was just spinning a specimen of grasshopper, which we collected in our lab in one of our field works. We use small pins to open the legs and the wings and make them in the best positions, and then make them prettier and well presented to our visitors. I also work with design and artistical creation, the production of poster of seeds of Hong Kong, like exploring more the plants of Hong Kong.
I'm quite surprised that running even a small museum like this requires so much work. And it's even more intriguing to learn that the vast biodiversity of the natural world can be showcased in just one petite room.
From collecting specimens to transmitting scientific knowledge to the masses, I'm sure there are many fascinating stories behind every step. And tonight we've invited Dr. Benoit Guénat and Anders Yu, Director and Education Manager of the Hong Kong Biodiversity Museum, to share some of them with us. Welcome to Vibrant Hong Kong.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Now, Benoit, could you begin by telling us about how this museum came into being?
Well, I joined the University of Hong Kong about 10 years ago, and back then I was shown this room where a number of specimens were stored there. I realized that there are a real potential, first for scientific purposes, but then also I realized that probably for education. And slowly I started having a few groups visiting this room, which I rearranged a little bit. And what I really felt was the people's excitement when they were visiting the room. And the word that was the most commonly said was, wow. And so I started applying for grants from the government, from the Environmental and Conservation Fund. And fortunately, I actually was able to develop the museum thanks to staff. And then we have been welcoming a lot of people since.
I know that the museum houses many different types of exhibits. So where do the specimens come from? And are there any interesting stories behind them that you can share with us?
Initially, we had, I would say, a basis for this collection that was probably established from different professors over many decades, again, at the University of Hong Kong. But that was probably about 10,000 specimens. When we start opening, we really actively seek some new specimens that we could include to the collection. We also get specimens from different institutions in Hong Kong. And then we also have donations from people. So people who may have specimens at home. And I think those are probably the most interesting one because often there is a history behind. There is a link. Potentially, the parents or the grandparents may have purchased or collected that specimen many years ago. And often the people don't feel so comfortable with those specimens anymore, but they still feel very attached to it. So it is our role to actually preserve the specimens, use them for education, but at the same time be the stewardship a little bit of those specimens for the people who trust us to take care of them. So we respect the spirit of the people, but also at the same time we try to educate and why people should not purchase new specimens anymore.
And Anders, I understand that the museum receives quite a large number of visitors. So tell us about who they are and if you have any interesting stories about the visits that you've hosted to share.
So the majority of group is families. So usually parents bring their kids to enjoy the view of specimens. And sometimes it's probably tourists, so from mainland, from overseas. And not only we open for public, but we also accommodate for private groups.
So any stories that left a lasting impression on you?
Yes, definitely. So over the past 3 years, there's many kids come to our museum. And you cannot imagine, they provide very simple questions, but actually it allows a very large amount of imagination or scientific research. So for example, they will ask, why is this beetle green color? Or why is this animal so big? And it seems very simple, but it requires a lot of research behind that. That's inspired us as a researcher or educator to try to think about how people perceive the world.
I understand that your team is quite small, so how do you receive so many people on top of the publicity work and preserving all the specimens?
Well, we actually have people who are quite specialized in what they are doing in the team, but also which are very good at working all together. So this really helped to be efficient, and we try to maximize that. But on top of the team that we have, there are also a lot of other people involved. In particular, I want to thank people who are volunteers and interns. What's very important is that these people come from very different backgrounds and bring a lot of diversity, a lot of different point of view to our team. And so I think we not just have the word biodiversity within our museum names, but also in the way we operate.
Wow, that sounds like you have a great team at hand.
We do.
I mean, now speaking of volunteers, Anders, could you also tell us about the opportunities that are out there for the volunteers?
The work is usually divided into two teams. So we got the curation team. So they mainly work with specimens directly. So right now we are focusing on database, on cataloging all the specimens we have, so including the old ones or the new donations. And the second one would be the education one. So because during the museum visits, we provided guided tours.
Now that we have some basic knowledge or info about the museum, I would like to know more about what is the purpose and importance or uniqueness of the museum that you could share with us.
I think it's very important to have museums to also break a number of prejudices that people may have. I would say a more objective view of nature and sometimes even flip people's perception. So that's really one thing that is very important. Then the second part is really about preserving our biological heritage. Hong Kong is located in one of the world hotspots for nature, so for biodiversity, with thousands and thousands of species, many of them that we actually do not know yet. And then the last part is also to bridge, I think, which is key, the scientific community with the rest of the public.
So what are the challenges in establishing and maintaining a museum, and what are your future goals?
Well, it's a big question. So the challenge is basically raising the money to actually maintain the museum, keeping everybody on board and the salary and everything. So that's I think true in any adventure that we have. Now, other challenge are the space. So the collection has been growing a lot over the past few years, and we would love to have a much larger space. Now, for the future, I think Hong Kong has a lot of great museums in art in particular, and I think it's a real luck to have those. But there is something missing about natural history, and we can even extend to the Greater Bay Area. There are a few collections here and there, but there's not a natural history museum, just like you will encounter in some of the big metropolis or capital of the world. I think the city really deserves that.
And Benoit, it sounds like sharing is one of your priorities, and it seems like the museum has a lot to offer. So please tell us about some of your previous outreach programs, as well as some upcoming projects.
So for the past 20 years, I've been working in ecology, and so it's very important to understand nature. But I think what's even more important is to share it with people so they can actually subscribe to what we are trying to protect it. And I think the first step for people to actually protect nature is to gain knowledge. Once you gain knowledge, you can get respect. Once you get respect, you actually want to protect things. And that's something I've been trying to do through different programs with different age groups, from very little students in kindergarten to university students and beyond, actually. So now with the museum, we have the opportunities to do that. And one of the programs that we have been running last year, and we have a new program for this year, is actually through photography. I think it's a great place to actually capture nature without harming it, and at the same time really get the best of nature, the most beautiful one. So last year we did it with jumping spider, which may not seem like the most, I would say, appreciated creature, but actually we got an amazing set of pictures, and for that, thanks to all the photographers who participate, we actually produced posters, 2 of them, where we can now display how beautiful and interesting these creatures are. For this year, we have decided to focus on odonata, which are actually the dragonflies and the damselflies. Very beautiful, elegant insects that many people can actually also take picture of, and beautiful picture. So that's what we hope to receive, and so anybody who wants to contribute, they can do it, and we have beautiful prize at the end that we will offer. And so ultimately we want again to have posters that people can download for free. It's very important for us also to provide education and to try to maintain free, because we want to educate as many people as we can to nature.
You know, I've actually done nature photography last year, and I think it's almost a meditative healing journey, and it's a great way to learn to respect nature for people from all kinds of backgrounds, all age groups. And it's such a fun activity too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yes, I have to agree. So what was it that drew you to Hong Kong initially, and what kept you here?
Well, I'm originally from France, as my accent might indicate, but I've been doing a journey through different countries. And part of my research brought me to Asia, in Japan at first, but also in Malaysia and other countries. And I thought Asia had something very unique about biodiversity. Actually, I'm pretty convinced it's one of the most diverse places in the world, definitely for the group I study, ants. And so my being based in Hong Kong was very interesting from that point of view, because Hong Kong had a lot to actually offer in terms of species to discover and study. But also it's a place where you get a lot of access to many different regions around, so many countries, many other islands, for example, which are quite accessible. And then there is a very good structure for doing science. There is great universities, there are good funding here, so it's very important to be in such environment, and good students as well that you can welcome and teach and then help to develop their career.
When you talk about your field of work, I can see the kind of spark and passion in you. So I hope that you can continue to find something in Hong Kong to explore and have fun and that you enjoy.
There is no limit to that yet.
So lastly, if our viewers would like to visit the museum, so what can they do?
So usually, right now we're open for Wednesday and weekends, so they can just simply book online. So it's very easy. So if you're a teacher or like a group of colleagues, you want to come as a group, so you are most welcome as well. So you can just email us through our email. And if you want to know more about biodiversity, so every week we provide some interesting stories about interesting facts of a species or ecology. So you feel free to follow us on social media as well.
Erica and I should really sign up for a visit as soon as possible.
Yes.
Now, thank you so much to the both of you for sharing your heartwarming stories, and your passion for knowledge transfer and natural science are clearly evident even just from the brief chat we just had. So all the best as the museum continues to expand, and we hope you reach the wider general public.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When we come back, we'll introduce you to a tourism project that makes use of augmented reality in the urban environment. But first, we're going to stop by Hong Kong Science Park to see a brand new art tech exhibition.
While technology, art, and environmental protection are three different disciplines, they're all interconnected and closely related to our daily lives. Hong Kong Science and Technology Parks Corporation, HKSTP, has recently unveiled an exhibition that combines these three elements and celebrates the harmonious confluence of sustainability, technology, and startup dynamism. Under the theme Housewarming, this Art Tech series takes visitors on a thought-provoking journey through sustainability and technology across 10 zones. It encompasses mesmerizing art pieces inspired by migratory birds, including the world premiere of Refuges, a drone video display on a curved wall by internationally acclaimed artist Francis Quivillon. Renowned local artists were also invited to create one-of-a-kind, innovative works. Hi, Kenny. Ornithopter Duo and Flocking at New Heights are two pieces that you were involved in creating. Could you tell us more about the creative concept behind them?
About Flocking at New Heights, because we are curating and also the artist of the work, so we want to create a fresh, refreshing beginning of the whole journey. So we want to make a very difference of the style of here, the futuristic, so the people seeing a forest and then starting to have a different environment, that seeing how migratory bird, how the bird affecting each other in the environment and how we can protect them.
How about Ornithopter Duo?
Ornithopter Duo is, and then we want to make a work that follow the theme around this project. It's like a housewarming. It's how we can protect an environment by everyone doing a little steps. That's why we create like an electric paddle. So everyone walk on the paddle to create some energy, so it could trigger the kinetic bird.
This exhibition aims to deliver an elevated, interactive experience and vividly illustrate advancements in technology. It features over 300 tech components, many of which were created and designed by HKSTP incubatees.
Hi Cam, what would you say is the biggest difficulty in combining art, technology, and environmental protection, and then making this fusion in different forms?
I think it's a natural fit with our technology because let's say we're talking about virtual experiences. So people don't have to go to a physical place in order to experience virtual experiences. So what does it mean? It means that they're cutting down the commuting time and also extra fuel. And so let me give you two examples. So for one, it's going to a biotech lab without hurdle of booking a tour for a physical tour. And so the second thing it is, let's say, a 3D experience to try on a virtual jewel. And with the virtual try-on, they can do it anywhere, anytime to do that purchase. So I think it is pretty green with our technology.
One of the key highlights is this helicopter simulator, which puts visitors in the pilot's seat.
Hi Alex, you're the 3D lead of one of HKSTP incubatees participating in this exhibition. What would you say, how have you created a novel experience for the visitors?
Well, I think in this era where technology and arts are almost like one, and we're coming into a new generation of these type of experiences, I'm more than proud to be part of this, I guess, first wave of showcasing this type of marriage. So for us is providing knowledge to people on what they will be seeing in the near future and what type of experiences they can be part of when it comes to art and technology.
And I understand there are different technologies, including VR, XR, and Metaverse incorporated into the works. How do you go about deciding which piece to pair with which technology?
I think it all depends. There are all different platforms for different type of experiences. So depending on the experience that you want to provide to the customer, then you would choose that particular platform. It's essentially like, you know, am I going to be driving a racing car? What's the purpose for it? Is it to win a race? Or am I going to go, or should I choose the four-wheel drive instead because I'm going to go in the mountains, right? So when it comes to XR, VR, and Metaverse, they all have different, I guess, major key elements that makes them special.
The exhibition emphasizes the need to strike a balance between INT growth and environmental stewardship. In addition to leading the sector in addressing climate issue, the organizer also hopes to inspire green actions among the public.
Mishi, do you know the difference between VR and AR?
Well, short for virtual reality, VR isolates users from the real world and places them in a completely virtual space. Meanwhile, AR stands for augmented reality and is a technology that overlays digital information, such as text, images, audio, and video onto real environments.
That's a brilliant answer, but it might still be a little bit difficult for some people to understand. Can you give some real-life examples?
Let's start with VR. By putting on a VR headset, we can go property hunting or even visit museums right in the comfort of our own homes. As for AR, the best example is probably a very well-known mobile game where monsters can be found in different real-life locations.
I still remember the time when monsters were everywhere in our city. But nowadays, tourism is everywhere in Hong Kong instead. Let's find out how a project headed by the Tourism Commission offers both locals and visitors a pioneering immersive experience using AR technology.
There are numerous fantastic scenic spots in Hong Kong that are worth visiting. Many of them are steeped in rich history and culture. What can we do if we want to learn about the stories behind them? Have you spotted AR clocks like this one around town lately?
This unique building used to be a Chinese herbal medicine shop about 90 years ago. I'm now in the bustling district of Central, and it turns out where I'm currently standing used to be the sea more than a century ago. Now, with the use of the technology, I can learn more about the past and the present of these places.
Called City in Time, this initiative has been rolled out in 28 designated locations in various districts since 2021 to wide acclaim. The Tourism Commission launched additional spots for the project in 6 designated locations in Lei Yue Mun last month.
This AR clock is like a time machine, transporting us to Sam Kha-chun in Lei Yue Mun more than 100 years ago. In the previous century, the residents in Lei Yue Mun earned a living from mining and pottery. It wasn't until the 1960s that the first restaurant opened and they began serving tourists. The local fisherfolk then followed suit, and the area eventually became world famous for the seafood.
And as you can see, we're now looking straight out over there.
The project was conceived by Professor Jeffrey Shaw, the global authority on AR technology. Under his guidance, the team used AR to integrate digital images and the works of several young Hong Kong artists with the real world, restoring the past of many historical local tourist hotspots in 360 degrees.
Hello, Professor. Can you tell us what's the most interesting in applying AR technology at this location?
Of AR technology is that it allows you to experience the present as it really is around us. You are not just watching a movie or you're not just looking at photographs, but you're actually standing in this position and you have an embodied experience of being present, both here and now and then.
In addition to digitized historical photos, some of the images featured in City in Time are created by local media artists. Their works have been rendered more lifelike with the use of computer technology. City in Time vividly replicates the extraordinary history of Hong Kong, showcasing the charm of its past through technological innovation.
So you know, I've lived in Hong Kong now for over 12 years, and I have to say that every day still brings surprises.
Yeah.
Hong Kong has got so many different layers. With our project, we really wanted to give visitors to Hong Kong the opportunity to discover all these secrets, all these mysteries, all these histories, which are there, which are hidden, but which can be brought out using these new techniques.
1, 2, 3. This app also enables users to take selfies with historical panoramas and share them on social media. This allows them to interact with their friends and tell them about the history and culture of Hong Kong locally and even globally. I can't wait to visit more scenic spots in Hong Kong and know more about the fascinating spots through this technology of AR.
Chief Executive John Lee stated earlier that Hong Kong will continue to promote the integrated development of culture and tourism, products and initiatives with local and international characteristics, including cultural tourism, heritage tourism, green tourism, and creative tourism, will be the key to realizing the concept of tourism is everywhere in Hong Kong.
Advanced technology plays a vital role in this regard. A local university has created an experience for the Tourism Commission that immerses locals and visitors in both the past and present of Hong Kong. City in Time gives us glimpses into our city's history in the here and now through augmented reality. Joining us now is its project director, Richard A-Lin, who serves as the chair professor of film and media art at City University of Hong Kong. Welcome to our show.
Hello.
Hi, welcome.
Great to be here.
So, Professor A-Lin, how did the idea of using AR technology to recreate panoramas of old Hong Kong in real-life surroundings come about?
Well, first of all, let me say I'm project director of City in Time. But the project was conceived and developed by Professor Jeffrey Shaw, who remains artistic director on City in Time too. Interaction with new media technologies has really become part and parcel of our everyday lives. And young people especially expect to get their information and share their experience through mobile applications. So if we're thinking about trying to introduce tourists to the rich cultural heritage and urban heritage of Hong Kong, what better way to do it than to develop a holistic, immersive, smart tourist experience? So what we've sought to do in City in Time is to develop an immersive 360, 3D historical panorama of Hong Kong, which you can access in situ, on site, at the place where history happened.
I understand that City in Time has been rolled out in Central, Jordan, The Peak, Sam Shui Po, Tsim Sha Tsui, and Yau Ma Tei since it was launched in 2021. So how do you go about selecting suitable locations, and what are some of the considerations that are taken into account?
This is a collaboration with the Tourism Commission, so partly the selection of the locations takes place in dialogue with them. I think in City in Time 1, the priority was to locate these AR markers at places in Hong Kong which were well-known tourist destinations. In City in Time 2, I think we've been guided by the idea of wanting to delve more into places which have a rich cultural heritage. So the new sites that we're using are at Lee Yu Mun, Tai Hang, and at Kowloon City, all of which have interesting stories attached to them.
Right. Now, Professor A-Lin, since you mentioned the new sites, I believe the next phase of the initiative was introduced last month to include 6 designated locations in Lei Yue Mun. So at the same time, the app's functions have also been upgraded. So what was different about the site selection process this time around?
One of these is a cultural heritage hotspot. And this was one of the reasons we selected Lee Yu Mun, because it's such a rich cultural heritage site. The second is we've also enhanced the selfie feature. And the third is that we've created a feature of movie hotspots. The thing about the selfie feature, and it's indeed proved to be the most popular aspect of the experience. Initially, the selfie feature was embedded in the animated panorama so that your picture looked like the design of the animated panorama. So people wanted, though, to actually see themselves. So now you can choose. You can see yourself or see yourself as the animated image. But we've also created the possibility of having audiovisual recordings, so you can actually record yourself at the site as well and share that.
Oh, wow. And in the recording, you're blended into the environment.
Well, you have the choice.
You have the choice. Okay, well, that's
You could be blended or not blended.
Right, as yourself or as the other version of yourself, right? That's really cool. How is the use of AR technology in Hong Kong to present historical panoramas in real-life locations different from those in other countries or regions?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, there are basically 4 kinds of AR heritage experience around. The first is the AR heritage tour, where you go on a walking tour, say, and you go to different heritage sites. At each site, you access your AR code, and then you have information about the site and pictures. Then you have what we might call AR architectural visualization. So say you're going to a ruin, and an architectural ruin, and you access your mobile app, and you see the building as it was when it was built. And then there's, in some places, you get cultural heritage games. So to make the sort of the space and the place more interesting, you go on your mobile app, and there's characters, and there may be some kinds of tasks you have to do. Maybe. Exactly. And so it becomes a sort of gamified experience. And then some you also get AR street art, where you go to a location and you have some kind of animated art, maybe riffing off something that's already there, like a piece of graffiti or wall art. What's unique about ours is the 360 immersive 3D visualization. That is what is unique about Hong Kong City in Time. But we also incorporate features of other apps. So we have the cultural heritage hotspots. We also have these movie hotspots. And of course we have the selfie feature. So we combine it. So what's unique is the immersive experience, but we combine it with all these other dimensions. Should add, part of the also, I think, what's significant about our project is its comprehensive nature. We now have 34 sites, AR sites in the city, and we're also now adding further sites at Tai Hang and Kowloon City. So it's a really comprehensive experience across the city.
So just to follow up now, in the development of City in Time so far, has there been a location that was particularly challenging or interesting in terms of AR integration? And what's your most unforgettable memory to date?
I think that Liumun has posed particular challenges for us. I think it's an excellent site from a cultural heritage point of view, but the landscapes that we were developing didn't have many architectural elements in them. So that you want to create a different kind of experience at each spot. So that was actually quite challenging.
So which scenic spot will be added next, and will there be further upgrades to the AR function?
We did a series of upgrades for City in Time 2 with the 3 spots, Liumun, Taihang and Kowloon City. So Taihang is our the next spot we're going to develop. And there, of course, at the centre of that, in terms of cultural heritage, will be the Fire Dragon Dance, which is obviously a very celebrated part of that community. Kowloon City will obviously feature the walled city very prominently. It's especially good to do this project at Kowloon City because, of course, all that's left is the park. So there's so much in the panoramas that we're going to create. There is going to be so much architectural history and cultural history to bring to life in the panorama, in that environment, because you'll be standing in a park, but you'll be looking at the walled city.
Wow, I mean, I grew up in Kowloon City, but I never got to see the walled city itself. So I am personally very excited to actually try it out at the park. So in your opinion, what other technological applications and projects can really help attract tourists to Hong Kong to really experience the true spirit and culture of our city?
Well, one of the projects that we're working on with, it's a collaboration with Hing Chow of the Guo Shu Foundation, and together with my colleague Jeffrey at HKBU and Sarah Kenderdine at EPFL. This is a project called the Hong Kong Martial Arts Living Archive. And we've created a database of about 150 motion-captured martial arts masters. We also have done a lot of other kinds of documentation. For City U, there represent real possibilities here to think about Kung Fu in relationship to Hong Kong's cultural heritage. I mean, in a way, it's a bit of a no-brainer. Kung Fu, Hong Kong. I mean, for me, growing up in the UK, what did I know about Hong Kong? It was Kung Fu. And I think for many, if we're talking about international tourism, for many, not just in the West, but everywhere, this is I mean, it's a cliche, but it's really what Hong Kong's known for. So I think there are possibilities for us at City U to develop potentially some kind of cultural heritage experience that's based around Kung Fu and the sites of Kung Fu in Hong Kong.
Oh, I love that idea.
Yes, so thank you again, Professor A-Lin, for joining us tonight. And I actually personally can't wait to visit the Liumun and see how it actually looks like 100 years ago. So all the best to you and your team to the next stages to your project.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Hong Kong Productivity Council opened a new exhibition hall this week. In addition to introducing the concept of new quality productive forces, it also provides specific examples that highlight the future opportunities that await Hong Kong.
At the 2024 two sessions, the crucial strategies for national development were laid out by the central government. Striving to modernize industrial system and developing new quality productive forces at a faster pace is one of the key directions. In an important speech to the Political Bureau, President Xi Jinping stressed the necessity to promote new quality productive forces. So what exactly are the new quality productive forces, and what role does Hong Kong play in their development?
New quality productive forces is a crucial driving force for the rapid development of the country, the GBA, and the Hong Kong SAR. Innovation, high quality, and greenness are the 3 key elements of new quality productive forces. Developing new quality productive forces requires promoting technological innovation, applying them to specific industries, and empowering the development of new industrialization.
Hong Kong possesses strong capabilities in the area of research and development. Recognizing that technological industrialization requires a solid industrial foundation, the HKSAR government has been injecting substantial resources and funding to drive further development. Today, the Future Manufacturing Hall opens for operation at Hong Kong Productivity Council, marking the next chapter of new industrialization in the city.
发展新质生产力是国家的重要政策方向，也是推动国家经济迈向高质量发展的核心引擎。我们必须充分发挥自身的独特优势，因地制宜发展香港的新质生产力，进而推动新型工业化，不断创造新价值，以支撑新实体经济的高质量发展，更好地融入国家发展大局。
This is our brand new Future Manufacturing Hall. And you see the different video screen here. Now we will pick the content to show according to the interest of the audiences, because different industry, they will want to see different technologies. Land resources in Hong Kong is limited. So a lot of manufacturing companies in Hong Kong adopt a new production model called microfactory. Now you see the backdrop here. This is from an actual setting of a textile microfactory in Hong Kong. I guess you will not believe that we still have a textile manufacturing plant in Hong Kong, right? Mm-hmm. And then the beauty of it is, as I explained, so instead of competing on price, on mass production, we are actually competing on a different segment and produce custom-made goods for the clients, so which is very different. Over the last 10 years, we have supported many different industries and has completed more than 1,300 projects.
The Future Manufacturing Hall showcases success stories and cutting-edge technologies in Hong Kong. This microfactory is especially intriguing. Using robotics, IoT technology, and AI automation, it enables highly flexible production processes within a very limited space, making low volume and highly customized manufacturing possible. Different stakeholders are eager to seize the new opportunities brought about by new quality productive forces.
We are the boutique factories located in Fort Tan, Hong Kong, specializing in electronic manufacturing. Our products are diverse and complex. Customers have high requirements on us. Therefore, the application of new technologies can definitely help us. We use sensors in each machine to collect data that we can monitor and record the data in real time. To do so, it can increase our production efficiencies and transparencies. The recorded data can also be used for traceabilities.
Of course, new quality productive force primarily related to production, innovation in production. However, from the education perspective, I would say it's about talent development, or we call it how to cultivate human potentials in a general sense. So this is very important because research will help to some extent innovation, to provide different kind of applied research and also basic research that leads to an enhancement of the new quality productive forces in various sectors. And now I can see that the Hong Kong SAR government is acting very proactively and do a lot of positive things which will support and has been supporting already the development of the general agenda we call the new quality productive forces.
Hong Kong should fully leverage the distinctive advantages of the country's strong support and extensive connections with the world under one country, two systems. Complementing with the advantages of other cities in the GBA, Hong Kong should transform and upgrade traditional industries, nurture and develop emerging industries, and build for the future.
By providing comprehensive support to businesses, Hong Kong will become an important gateway and core city for the country's development of new quality productive forces and the advancement of industrialization.
With the sweltering heat and sudden downpours we get at this time of year, Hong Kong Biodiversity Museum and HKPC's Future Manufacturing Hall are the perfect places to visit for a family day out.
That's not all. The International Arts Carnival, which features a global selection of programs, and the free admission Summer Library Festival are also on the calendar this month. Remember to tune into Vibrant Hong Kong to stay updated. Thank you for watching tonight, and please join us again next week. Good night.
you